Hello friends and welcome to another episode of 3 Minute Game Pass. I'm Nathan and today I'm going to tell you whether this Game Pass game is worth your time and bandwidth. Today's game is 12 minutes, trapped in your apartment, living out the same chunk of time over and over. No, this isn't a year 2020 simulator, it's 12 minutes. Is it worth living out the same 12 minutes over and over again? Let's find out. 12 Minutes is a PC and Xbox release that supports cross achievements but not cross saves. On the Xbox, it is updated for Xbox Series S and X, just for general better performance is the best I could find for that, and the game is 12 minutes long. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's about 3 to 4 hours long to beat, maybe more depending on if you get stuck. So what exactly is 12 Minutes? Well, it is what it says in its title. It is a puzzle adventure game where the primary gimmick is that the protagonist is living out the same 12 minutes in his apartment over and over. As the events of the evening play out, the room will reset if either the main character dies, he attempts to leave the apartment, or if your 12 minutes run out. During this time, you'll have to pick up and interact with things in the environment to try and solve puzzles and ask questions of your wife and others in order to figure out what is going on and then eventually use that to cut corners to solve the optimal way to gather more information for your next run. So it's a roguelike. No, I'm just kidding. The interaction is done with point and click, tapping areas to move around or picking up items in the world, and then to use those items you drag them from your inventory onto objects to see how they interact. I don't want to say too much more as I don't want to spoil it, but needless to say you'll be doing a lot of experimentation, exploration, item picking up, communication, and just generally dinking around to try and figure out the best way to proceed. So what I like about 12 Minutes? Well, I will say it's incredibly engrossing. The story, the atmosphere, and when the puzzles work together, you feel really smart. I felt like, especially for the beginning of the game, I was really invested in the story and really sucked in. They did a fantastic job of giving you plot reveals at just the right amount to make you really enticed by the mystery. Similarly, a lot of the experimentation felt really rewarding. The game accommodated a lot of the weird things I thought up. As an example, I was messing around in the vents in the house and I couldn't see what was in them, and it let me put an item in the vent, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to see what's in this vent. So I picked up like a candle, a fake candle that was on the table, and stuck it into the vent, and it illuminated the vent, and I could see inside of it. That's not a puzzle solution, by the way, that there wasn't anything in the vent, but it felt like really cool that that actually was doable. And lastly, I thought that the voice acting, which uses some famous actors, was very good and very immersive throughout. I'm a big fan of Willem Dafoe, and I feel like he really nails it, in particular in this role. When it comes to the bad, I found that getting stuck is incredibly frustrating and fairly common. Some of the puzzles are really obtuse, and I feel they were poorly designed, and if you get stuck, you don't really feel like there's any way to get around getting stuck. There's no hints, there's nothing like that. Getting stuck really sucks in this game because you just feel like, again, you're stuck in a cycle of failure. Having to redo an entire sequence of events because you messed up as well is terrible. There was a time where I needed to do something that happened near the end of the 12 minutes, and I made one mistake at the end, and the whole run was botched, and I had to do all this sequence of events over again. That is incredibly frustrating. And lastly, again, no spoilers, but the ending of this game, the plot twists that kind of wrapped it up, I did not like at all, and I felt took away from the rest of the story. It honestly kind of soured me for the whole experience. So as you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale. Must play, maybe consider, don't bother. This is definitely a maybe consider. I feel like you'll know if you like this kind of game based on the review thus far, which is good because the game has been really polarizing amongst those I know who have played it. For the first hour, 2 hours of 12 minutes, I was completely enthralled. It has a very cool premise, it has some genuine aha moments, and some great plot reveals over its first half, but unfortunately it can easily lead to an exercise in frustration and storytelling woes the further along it progresses. Obtuseness of the second half in both puzzle requirements and story will certainly frustrate more than fascinate more than a few of its players. It is worth checking out, just be prepared. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and go out there and enjoy 12 Minutes.